Hello guys and welcome back to the channel. I hope you're all doing well. In today's video, we're going to be checking out the Transformers Studio Series Bumblebee movie, Deluxe Class N.E.S.T of Bumblebee with Sam Witwicky. Now before we delve into today's review, I would really appreciate it if you guys could all smash that like button, and of course, please feel free to let me know down in the comment section below on what you think of both the figure and of course the review. Now this Bumblebee here is inspired by no official movie appearance, and when it was first announced, I think it's pretty suffice to say that expectations and just anticipation for this release alone really weren't all that high. However, after actually having this in hand, this has got to be by far one of my favourite Bumblebee repaints we've ever seen. It's so distinctive, so original, and really does harken back to some of those pre-2010 Hunt for the Decepticons repaints where Hasbro would effectively give us almost stealth modes for these characters, and that is definitely the vibe I'm getting here from the off-road Bumblebee. Now we'll touch base here with him in just a second. Surprisingly and randomly enough, they have in fact actually packaged in a Sam Witwicky. Now this is identical to the version that we saw with the Revenge of the Fallen offering, so you guys know what to expect. Pretty bland detailing and not very good paint at all, but for those of you who are after an in-scale version of this character to add to the collection, I don't think it's going to look too bad, just sort of in the back as a background character. Now as we take a look at Bumblebee himself, oh my goodness, this to me is what the premium finished line should be. The paintwork on this figure is by far some of the best I've seen Hasbro pull off. You can see that in all, the mold itself is just awesome. I've always had a huge soft spot for the off-road Bumblebee. I loved the look in the movie, and I thought that as far as a Bumblebee movie Bumblebee went, this was by far the most accurate version that we got officially. You can see the detailing for that face sculpt is just exceptional. We've got the tiny little speaker here at the bottom, the attention to detail where those eyes are concerned, as well as the mouth and the nose just looks terrific. Sadly, no form of Autobot insignia, but honestly, that's just a minor critique. You can see here the sculpt work towards the side of the helmet looks equally as good, and as we spin our attention here to the torso region, I'm in love with not only the shade of green they've used, as this to me really does throw me back to a Stealth Bumblebee repaint that we got way back in the day, but the gunmetal grey that we've got going on here just looks incredible. You can see how reflective that is. Super awesome. As we take a look here at the arms, you can see the bicep and the forearm have been cast out of this pretty metallic looking plastic. I actually don't think this looks too bland at all. And as we take a look here down to the torso region, you can see this has in fact actually been decked out with a slightly lighter shade of silver, just to contrast with the gunmetal we've got going on here, and it really does help to pick out some of the sharper details of the sculpt. The same can also be said here for the thighs. You can see they're really awesome mechanical detailing, and even here for the shins, we've got a darker gunmetal for the knee and a much lighter shade of silver going on here for this section. It's just so awesome to see Bumblebee in a different colour other than yellow. It's a really nice breath of fresh air. As we spin our attention here to the back of the character, of course, we're kind of giving away a few spoiler details of what to expect in alt form, but overall, this guy just cleans up so nicely. Now, he does come with one accessory here, at least for robot mode, that being the blaster accessory. This is the same as we've seen with pretty much all versions of Bumblebee. Really nice looking detail. Sadly, no gunmetal here for the actual blaster itself, but considering this is a Bumblebee movie review, of course I have to give you guys the B-movie blaster sound effect. Just such an awesome figure. Now, in regards to articulation, Bumblebee, of course, has got the same ball joint here at the head and a hinge joint due to transformation, which can look up that far. We get a ball joint here at the shoulder, which can rotate the full 360, hinge out to the side, full rotation there at the bicep, as well as a 90-degree bend there at the elbow, a full rotation here at the waist. The legs can kick forwards that far to a fantastic degree, so you can get him right in Blitzwing's jaw, which is so cool. We can also hinge them back to that far, out to the sides, rotation here at the thigh, albeit very stiff. We do get a slightly past 90-degree range here at the knee, and due to transformation, a fantastic ball joint going on here for the ankle, which can go forwards and backwards, as well as of course rock side to side. So overall, such a fantastic mold, and to me at least, this color scheme is just to die for. I really hope that we can see even Optimus Prime decked out in this same almost Stealth Force gunmetal silver, and the fact that they're even using the N.E.S.T title in this, oh my goodness me, just gives me Revenge of the Fallen vibes all day long. Give us more N.E.S.T characters, Hasbro and Takara, as I know at least I will be lapping them up all day long. Now, in regards to a very quick off-road Bumblebee movie comparison. Of course, here we've got the original version, which looks super bright in contrast here to our gunmetal. It just looks rather desaturated when in comparison here to the original version. But as far as molding goes, they are identical to one another. It maybe would have been cool to have seen an alternate battle mask head sculpt included with this guy, but honestly, not too bad looking at all. And to be honest, I am kind of leaning more towards this repaint than the actual repaint that appeared in the movie. Now, as we turn to transformation, considering it is identical to the original Jeep B, I'll very quickly skim through it. So of course, just remove the blaster. We're going to want to turn our attention here to the torso, pull this region forwards, and then fold out the front of the Jeep. We can then take these panels, snap them there into place, take this, hinge this section to the back, which will allow us to fold the arms in, and then just hinge the head all the way until it does snap there into place. We can then straighten out the arms, so we're left with something along the lines of this, and then just bring this section up and over, and you'll notice how we've got two slots here and here that these two tabs will peg into. So just snap them in there. That will then allow clearance to snap the front hood over. We can then flip to the underside of Bumblebee, and you'll notice how we've got two tabs here on the inside of the forearms that are going to peg into some slots here. So just snap that section in. Now, in regards to the transformation of the legs, this is definitely where things are going to get slightly more fiddly. So personally, I would recommend folding out the steering wheel and extending this section here out. We can then hinge this section like so, rotate the foot so that the front is now facing the back, fold out here the wheel, and bring this entire section up and over. That will then allow clearance for us to fold out the seat. And then as far as this is concerned, we just hinge this up, and these two tabs will peg into some slots here on the side of this panel. Now, in regards to locking all of this into place, you'll notice how we've got a tab on this section that will peg into the side of the thigh. So just port that in there and flip our attention here to this side and repeat the exact same process. So hinge all of that out, rotate the foot around, bring that up and over, and then just fold out the seat and snap these two pieces together, and then snap that section in just like so. Now what we can do is tab these two halves here together until they click into place really securely, and you'll notice that these back sections will too also snap into place, and we can hinge this up, forming this almost tank section as well as an additional wheel. So just make sure that everything is tidied up nicely. We can then fold up the windscreen. And with all that being said, here we have the off-road Bumblebee fully transformed up into his pretty awesome looking Willys Jeep alt mode. And here we have the Jeep or the N.E.S.T Bumblebee fully transformed up into his really awesome off-road Willys Jeep alt mode, and once again looking fantastic. Now, if you thought the detailing in the robot mode was good, oh my goodness, Hasbro had an absolute field day when they put this alt mode together. The attention to details to some of those older N.E.S.T figures that we saw way back in the day is just so awesome and super nostalgic. So straight off the bat, slap bang here on the hood, we've got the Autobot insignia there encased in the N.E.S.T logo. That is just such a nice touch. I love how this looks. You can see how the entire hood has been coated out of this really awesome gunmetal silver. As we take a look here towards the front grille, the attention to detail on the Willys Jeep just looks so awesome. You can see that green plastic that we saw in robot mode. Really nice attention to detail going on here for the front, and the paintwork just across the board is so awesome. Now, I've tried my best to in fact actually lock this section into place. Sadly, for whatever reason, it does have a tendency to untab, but even here on the side you can see we've got the N.E.S.T logo, which truly does just throw me back to some of those older Michael Bay movies. And the attention to detail even here for the interior is pretty nicely done. We don't tend to see that on nowadays deluxe figures. So we've got some dials there on the dashboard, the steering wheel, as well as some proper sculpted in seats, of which even have some creased and wrinkling effect going on here for the base of them, which is a super nice touch. As we spin our attention here to the back, the rear lights too are painted. You can see we've got this almost gas can, as well as the additional wheel, and just overall it's such an awesome looking vehicle mode. You can see here for the front windscreen, completely decked out in that gunmetal grey with the green plastic there, and the only area of which, if I had to be really critical with and complain about, would be the placement here of the robot arms. If they had just found a way to have concealed these slightly better, this would probably be one of the best alt modes that we've ever seen for a Bumblebee. It looks so awesome. The attention to detail is fantastic, and I do in fact actually hope that we can see an almost concept version of Hound utilizing this mold, as I really do think this would be a great basis for that. Now, for a vehicle mode comparison, here we've got the tiny Sam with Wiki that we took a look at in robot form. Surprisingly, I actually think this would be roughly to scale. Maybe he's ever so slightly too big, but I don't think it looks too bad as a pair, just having Sam sort of running out of Bumblebee screaming, Optimus, or Bumblebee, you know, exactly what you would expect from Shia LaBeouf. And in regards to some weapon storage, as we just flip here to the underside, it is identical to the original offering, so you can see how we've got 2 slots here and here that these tabs on the blaster will in fact peg into, so just shoot them there into place. And for a very quick Jeep Bumblebee vehicle mode comparison, here we've got the new N.E.S.T offering compared next to the original. So exactly the same in terms of mold, is merely just the colours of which differ, but to be honest, I really love how this almost stealth version has turned out. It looks so awesome. And so, some final thoughts for the Transformers Bumblebee Studio Series N.E.S.T Bumblebee. Of course, considering this guy is a non-appearance repaint, I definitely cannot see this appealing to the vast majority, which is a shame, as I actually think it's one of the best repaints that we've seen from the line. And if we are to hope that Hasbro do take more concept characters and concept repaints into the future, then I really think this figure is kind of going to be an indication that maybe fans don't really want this, as I can definitely see this sadly shelf warming. However, I really love the way the robot mode looks. As far as a B-movie repaint is concerned, it is by far the most original. We don't really tend to see Bumblebee in any other colour other than in yellow, and some of the repaints of which are slightly different, such as the almost Cyberfire version that we saw in Dark the Moon, actually have been pretty well received. So in some regards, I am hoping that this guy is a little more anticipated and a little more desired than initially suspected, but the mold alone is just fantastic. The off-road Bumblebee has very quickly become very difficult to obtain on the aftermarket and in stores, so for those of you wishing to experience the mold first time round, I really do think this figure is probably the best way to get it into the collection at an affordable price. I think it looks awesome in robot mode, fantastic articulation, by far the most accurate version of Bumblebee that we saw from his solo outing. I think in regards to accessories, the blaster is nice. Sam with Wiki is just so random. I have no idea as to why they packed him in. If anything, I maybe would have liked to have seen Charlie introduced into this pack. We have seen a minifigure for her in the past, such as with Studio Series 15, and I believe they even repacked her in with a buzzworthy re-release, so it maybe would have made more sense to have packaged her in with this, but nevertheless, I think in regards to transformation, it is in fact quite involved, but a really satisfying conversion, and results in what is undeniably one of the best vehicle forms I think we've seen, not only for Bumblebee, but out of the entire Studio Series line so far. The attention to detail to the Willys Jeep is just exceptional, and the fact that it even has interior detailing, even to this day, blows my mind. So with all that being said, I honestly really recommend this. I think this is a fantastic figure and an awesome repaint, and as mentioned earlier, if we are to hope that Hasbro do delve into more concept repaints and concept characters in the future, I really do think this figure is kind of going to give them an indication whether or not fans really do want to kind of see this in the line. Personally, I would love to see more of this. I would really like to see Optimus Prime done in this almost Stealth Force deco, to see Prime with the N.E.S.T insignia slapped on his hood. Oh my goodness, it would just look awesome. So I personally am really hoping to see more of this. I would love to know your thoughts down in the comment section below. Do you guys like the N.E.S.T repaint, the overall N.E.S.T motif? Would you in fact love to see more characters with this almost N.E.S.T inspired colour scheme? And how awesome is it to still see N.E.S.T on a modern day figure, almost 10 years, over 10 years now, since we actually last saw it in a movie. I believe the last time we saw N.E.S.T was in Dark the Moon. We are in fact seeing it here in 2022, so to me it's incredibly nostalgic, and I'm pretty certain that if you're a fan of the Bay movies, you're really going to like the way this has turned out. I hope that you guys enjoyed this review, and of course, until my next review, I'll see you then. Thanks for watching.